Greetings everyone and welcome to another World War Z video guide. Today we're going to review the best melee weapon options for the Slasher class. Before we start, I do know that the Slasher is a unique class that can take advantage of mostly of the melee weapons we have available, but certain weapons can work better in certain situations or difficulties. That's why we have this video to explore which weapon can work best and in what situation. Realistically, we have two categories, one up to hard difficulty and one for insane and extreme difficulty, because there certain weapons work differently for the Slasher. So let's start by exploring up to hard difficulty what are the best weapon choices for the Slasher and why. All weapon categories, light, medium and heavy, can still one-shot the Zik up to hard difficulty. So that being said, you can use any weapon, but certain weapons do work better in some situations. Let's start with the light melee weapons. The dual knives are only good for the ranged Slasher, which is a thing, because you have the gun kata, 25% increased firearm damage for 3 seconds after killing a Zik. Although I don't really like the spec, it's okay if you're not certain if you get friendly fire from your teammates, but up to hard difficulty, go full Slasher and get the dual sickles. This weapon will basically make you immortal thanks to the Reaper. Killing 5 zombies in rapid succession with this weapon restores 5% of max health. This has no cooldown. As long as you keep killing Zik, you will get 5% health back. So the Blood Harvest, yes, the signature strike can strike one additional target, but we will basically run out of stamina very fast, but we don't care. It's hard difficulty. Its strike even without any stamina can one-shot the Zik. So we take 60% less damage, we get temporary hit points, in case the Zik damages us, you get healed by 5% as you can see in the background. So yes, this can make you immortal up to hard difficulty, as long as you can keep killing Zik in melee range. So yeah, it's a very good option. I have bought the DLC to test the cleavers. This is the weapon I was most curious about. The signature strikes can hit one more target and deal more damage, and the butcher is actually what I wanted to test. That killing 5 zombies in rapid succession with this weapon restore your melee stamina fully. So this is a better DPS option in case you run with a group. You will basically never run out of melee stamina. You will always do the signature strike, although this can be a weakness, because during the signature strike you strike a little slower and some Zik can have an opening and hit you. But realistically you deal more damage because you don't get tired, you hit 2 Zik at once because you have the stamina. In case you have the DLC, yes, the dual cleavers are nice for if you go with a group for DPS. If you go solo, the dual sickles are a superior option because they can basically make you immortal up to hard difficulty. Moving on to the medium and heavy weapons, yes, let's start with the heavy weapons. They're very nice, they can one-shot 2 or 3 Zik depending on how much stamina you have, but I don't really recommend it, it's overkill for up to hard difficulty. They're a nice option if you want, especially in different situations. The baseball bat is nice because you can never run out of sprint stamina to run to do objectives. Run around, kill a couple of Zik, get your stamina back, keep running. But if you want for DPS, the fire axe is actually a superior option because of the untouchable. It strikes one additional target and makes you invulnerable. And the reason this is superior because it triggers every 3rd strike, compared to the baseball bat that you need to do at least 5 strikes to hit the swing away. And sometimes you will miss it because you have already killed most of the Zik in 5 strikes and only 1 or 2 remain within range. Get some melee stamina back. That's why the fire axe is a superior option, although you will never probably get the fire axe back, but the untouchable is good. I have also tried the sledgehammer, which honestly I'm not very impressed. The signature strike, yes, can deal more damage and push back enemies further. The cleansing is good, as you can see it cleanses the infector spit, for example, for now, and the gas bag, but the gas bag is a trap. It gives you only immunity for 3 seconds, which is not good. Believe me, you can get trapped inside there and die from the gas cloud if you're not careful. So for now the sledgehammer is not my go-to choice. If I want to go for damage, the heavy fire axe, and for, let's say, utility, the baseball bat. And the medium weapons are also a very nice choice in case you don't want to go with the light weapons, which is the next best thing. And in my opinion, we have a couple of weapons that work best in some situations. The Wakizashi is better for high DPS because the signature strikes can damage to additional targets. Normal death probably will never trigger up to hard difficulty, unless you are a little unlucky or you don't pay so much attention to the swarm attacks. The best choice in my opinion, number one, is the Tomahawk, because it has survivability and damage. The signature strikes made with this weapon deal more damage, but you temporarily become invulnerable while performing that. But the duck and weave, it's actually the go-to tool. Killing 5 zombies with this weapon without taking damage, so you don't have to kill them fast. You get half the temporary health boost compared to the one we get from our perk, and doesn't have a cooldown. So this actually is a very nice survivability tool. You will always get a temporary health boost and one-shot the Zik in range. And the medium weapons are okay fast, you don't lose so much speed compared to the light melee weapons. And I tested the Lobo, that has a 5% chance to drop equipment bag, and the Fire Axe 3% chance, but these only trigger with signature strikes, which is not good. The signature strike triggers after the 3rd or 4th swing, and even when I run completely solo, so the bots won't steal or the players my kills, I still got very few drops. With the Fire Axe I think I dropped only 1 medkit from a mission. With a Lobo only 2 supply bags, so I don't really recommend them, very situational. And the Hammer is okay up to hard difficulty, although I do believe this is a must for Horde mode, because killing 5 Zik with this weapon in rapid succession will restore 10% of durability for the voltage grids, for the fences, for the barbed wires, so yes, this is a must. Just kill some Zik when they arrive in the voltage grids and just restore their durability for free. Because the signature strike is okay, but for the slasher we don't really need even more push radius, but because it deals 50% less damage, so we don't really need to take advantage of that. Now let's move on to the harder difficulties, or insane and extreme, which things operate quite differently. Unfortunately, the light melee weapons do not one-shot the Zik, and you need 2 strikes to kill 1 Zik. That's why the light melee weapons is not the best choice for insane or extreme difficulty. Even the dual cleavers can be better, because you can't just kill with a fully melee stamina 5 Zik and restore your stamina. This is the only option. Realistically, you can go and kill many Zik. The dual cycles are okay in case you go with a crowd control perk, which give you 50% extra push radius. So yes, this can be a nice option. Or once again, the dual lives in case you go with a ranged slasher. But yes, I do know that some people won't have the DLC with the dual cleavers. In case you don't have it, the other 2 options are decent but not the best compared to the medium and heavy weapons. For insane and extreme, we have the Wakizashi. It's a decent option, although not the best in my opinion. The Lobo and the Fire Axe, as mentioned previously, they have the same problem as running in hard. They only trigger from signature strikes, and you don't kill so many Zik in signature strikes as you want. So I don't think it's worth it to just have a so low chance. If you want to go with either of those, better go with Wakizashi, you have better abilities. So the number 1 choice once again is the Tomahawk, because it has the red mist, temporal invulnerability while performing signature strikes, which can make a difference, and the temporary health boost will make a huge difference for survivability. So you have 2 temporary health boosts, one from this and one from our perks, and the invulnerability, making huge difference. And the Hammer, once again, the push radius will not kill the Zik, and we don't want that. We already have a very decent push radius. Combat Engineer is very decent, but this is once again the good option if you go for Horde mode hard. Otherwise, I don't recommend it for missions. So number 1 choice is the Tomahawk, number 2 is Wakizashi, number 3 and for Horde mode is the Hammer, and the other 2 options are in case you feel lucky and you kill many Zik with signature strikes. Let's move on to the heavy weapons, which is actually a very decent choice for insane and extreme. I was a little surprised by this. how good they perform in extreme and insane for the slasher. The baseball bat is decent, but honestly it's not the best choice. Because yes, home run is good in case you want to run to objectives. This can be the best choice because honestly, as you can see in the background, we can run from the beginning of the level until the first swarm without any rest, because we never run out of sprint stamina, in case we run for solo of course, because if you run with a group they will steal some of your kills. But for solo this is a nice option. The swing away won't trigger as much, triggers after 5th strikes, and you have to kill some Zik to restore melee stamina. That's why the heavy fire axe, once again the best choice. Temporary invulnerability makes a huge difference, as you can see in the background, and you can also hit additional one target, and it triggers every 3rd strike. It's very consistent, you can time it very nice, it's a very nice option. Although you won't use the second ability, the fire axe, as often, only the untouchable makes this weapon a good choice to use to insane and extreme. Once again, I have tried the sledgehammer, not as impressed, I don't need any more push radius. The cleansing only works against 2 Zik if you kill them with melee attacks, and until we see what the new special is up to, we don't know if this will be a good choice or not. And it's also a DLC that most people won't have. That's why the heavy fire axe is the superior choice compared to the 3, or let's say to the 2. So to summarize, up to hard difficulty, the best choice are the light melee weapons, with the cycles being number 1 for survivability, the dual cleavers being number 1 for DPS if you go for the group. The medium weapons are the next best thing for up to hard difficulty, with the number 1 choice the tomahawk for survivability and damage, the wakizashi for damage, and the hammer for horde mode. The heavy melee weapons are not as good for up to hard difficulty. They can perform good, but they're much slower, you won't kill the Zik as fast. But in case you want to, the baseball bat is good for solo runs to never run out of sprint stamina, and the fire axe is just good for melee DPS. And up to insane or extreme difficulty, number 1 choice are the medium melee weapons. And the heavy melee weapons are actually quite close to the medium melee weapons, but the medium will perform a little better because they're faster and they can still one-shot the Zik. The tomahawk is number 1 for damage and survivability. Number 2, wakizashi for damage. Number 3, the hammer for horde mode. And the other 2, the lobo and fire axe, are the last choices because they're very luck based. For the heavy weapons, number 1 for DPS is the heavy fire axe. For DPS and survivability, hit extra targets, become invulnerable. And the baseball bat is not as good because we can only use it for solo to just restore our sprint stamina, and we won't kill as many Zik with a swing away. The sledgehammer is not as impressive as I hoped. We don't need the push radius. We won't get as many benefits from the cleansing as there are not so many Zik to get the cleansing from. And in case you want to run with light melee weapons, the dual cleaver is a good choice for DPS or insane or hard. Unfortunately, this is DLC, and I do understand that not everyone will own the DLC. In case you don't have this, the cycles are good for crowd control if you just spec with a named perk. You will get the Blood Harvest and Reaper, but not as often as in hard difficulty. And the dual knives are good once again for the range slasher. And that was it for today's video. I really hope this will help you make your choice for the weapons for the slasher while running in any difficulty. And I do hope that the developers will release some melee weapons we can buy with blue coins, and they just release the weapons from the DLC, the dual cleavers and the sledgehammer. Dual cleavers especially should be available through everyone throughout the game. It's a very good option for the slasher in certain occasions. But anyway, let's hope for the best for the near future. So feel free to like if you liked, and you can subscribe for more upcoming videos for World War Z Aftermath and other video games. And as always, I wish you all a wonderful day.